Hi everyone, and welcome back to my kitchen. If you love chocolate, you are going to love today's dessert recipe. I'll be making my Black Forest chocolate cherry cheesecake. This incredible festive cheesecake is perfect for the holiday season, but really it's great year-round for any special occasion, and it comes together so quickly. We're going to start things with a chocolate Oreo cookie crust, make a rich chocolate cheesecake batter, and then once the cheesecake is done baking, we're going to add some whipped cream and some cherry pie filling on top. You guys are going to love the combination of flavors here. It's rich, it's fruity, it's chocolatey, and it's incredibly delicious. For the full recipe and for the full list of ingredients, including the recipe and metric measurements, make sure to head on down the video description box where you'll find a link that'll take you over to my website. Meanwhile, let's get started. While I'm making my crust and my cheesecake batter, I'm going to preheat my oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. I've also prepared a 9-inch springform pan by wrapping the bottom of the pan with 2 sheets of extra wide foil, and using the extra wide foil gives you no seam, so you have a less chance of water seeping into the cheesecake while it's baking. I'm going to set this aside for now, and we're going to get started with the crust. So today I am going to be using chocolate Oreo cookies. You can use pretty much any kind of chocolate cookies. Chocolate graham crackers will also work. I just couldn't find any at the store this time, so Oreo cookies it is. We're going to drop them into my food processor. We'll need about 20 to 25 of these Oreo cookies. You'll need about 1.5 cups of cookie crumbs. Cover this with a lid, and I'll pulse the Oreo cookies until fine crumbs form. Next, I'll pour in 1/4 cup of melted butter. This will help bring everything together. And give this a pulse for a couple seconds. You want those crumbs to be well coated. Then I'll transfer my cookie crumbs into the springform pan. And I like to use a potato masher to press the crumbs into the bottom of the springform pan to create a level, firm, and even crust. My crust is all done. I'm going to set it aside for now, and I'm going to get started on the cheesecake batter. So I've softened 32 ounces. It's 4 packages of regular cream cheese at room temperature. You want it to be nice and soft so that it beats nicely and quickly. I'm going to drop the cream cheese into my mixing bowl, and today I am using a flat beater attachment. And the secret to a really good cheesecake is mixing the cream cheese all by itself for a good 7 to 9 minutes. You want to scrape down the sides of the mixing bowl every so often till that cream cheese is really smooth and creamy. Last of the cream cheese going in. All right, let's get this started. And don't forget to stop and scrape down the sides of this mixing bowl periodically, because there's nothing worse than getting random clumps of cream cheese in your cheesecake. And once my cream cheese is beaten and smooth, I am ready to add my next ingredient. I am going to melt 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips in the microwave. You could also do this on the stovetop using a double boiler, and then we'll come back to add the melted chocolate into the cheesecake batter. And while my chocolate is melting, I'm going to add in 1 cup of sour cream into the cheesecake. All right, let's pour in this beautiful melted chocolate. This is going to add so much incredible flavor to the cheesecake. I'm also going to add in 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1 cup of white granulated sugar, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Now turn this on and give this a mix for about a minute, and then we'll stop, scrape down the mixing bowl, and 1 more minute. All right, give that a mix for 1 more minute. And I forgot to add my salt. We have 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Drop that in. And last but not least, my eggs. I brought up 4 large eggs up to room temperature, and I'm going to drop them in one at a time, mixing them in, and then we'll stop to scrape down the mixing bowl. This cheesecake batter is so luscious and rich, and it also smells really good. It almost looks like cake frosting you could eat by the spoonful if it didn't have raw eggs. I'm going to pour it over my prepared crust. It's a really nice and thick cheesecake batter. I'm going to give the cheesecake a few taps so that the batter settles evenly. And then we'll grab a little offset spatula and spread this evenly so you have a nice level cheesecake. And my chocolate cheesecake is ready for the oven. Mine is preheated to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and I've placed my cheesecake onto a baking sheet that I'm going to fill up with water. So this is called a water bath, and the extra moisture is going to help keep the cheesecake nice and level. It will also help prevent any cracks from forming on the surface. So I highly recommend doing this step. This cheesecake is going to bake at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours, and then I'm going to turn the oven off and then prop the oven door open with a wooden spoon and let the cheesecake cool really slowly in the oven for a couple hours, and then I'll place it into the refrigerator so that it could chill overnight, and then I'll come back to show you guys how to make that whipped cream topping and add that cherry pie filling. And today I wanted to make some cherry flavored whipped cream to complement the cherry filling. I've measured out 2 cups of heavy cream and I've let this chill in the refrigerator so it's extra cold. I'm going to add in a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of cherry liqueur. You can also add a teaspoon of cherry extract. It's going to add lots of great flavor. Pour that in. And we'll need 1 cup of confectioner's sugar. Then I'll use my mixer. You can also use a stand mixer for this. I'll start out on a slow speed, working my way up to high, and whisk this for about 4 to 5 minutes until stiff peaks form. And I have a cheesecake that's all set and ready to go. I baked this one yesterday, let it chill in the refrigerator overnight. Now I'm going to grab a flat spatula. I'm going to slide it underneath the crust. Make sure to loosen the cheesecake from the springform pan before you try to move it onto a cake stand. Well, once this cheesecake is loosened, we're going to just transfer it directly onto a cake stand. Super easy to do. Just make sure to keep it nice and stable. Look at that. And now for assembling the cheesecake, I've transferred my whipped cream frosting into a pastry bag, and today I'm using one of my favorite tips. It's a Teco tip number 847. We're going to pipe generous dollops of this whipped cream right on the edge, and this will help keep that cherry filling in on the inside. And today I'm going to be using this type of cherry pie filling and topping. These are cherries in a thick kind of jelly. You can also use regular canned cherries. Just drain all the liquids really well out of them and then add them on top of the cheesecake. We're going to add these cherries right into the center. I love that this recipe is so easy. Doesn't that look amazing? And now let's cut into this cheesecake to see what it looks like and get a try. I'm going to grab a knife, and I've warmed it in some hot water. Hopefully this will help cut the cheesecake a little bit smoother. All right, time to see what this cheesecake looks like on the inside. Check this out. I am loving how thick and like rich and luscious the cheesecake is. And then you have that cherry topping, the whipped cream. This is gonna be amazing. You guys know I love a little extra whipped cream on the side too. And that's it for my Black Forest chocolate cherry cheesecake. This turned out incredible. I love having tons and tons of that cherry pie filling on the top along with the whipped cream. I can't wait to dig in and enjoy. To find the full recipe and the list of ingredients, make sure to head on down the video description box and follow that link over to my website where you can find all the information posted online. Now, time to dig in and enjoy. This looks so incredible. This is going to be really great for the holiday season during Christmas time. Really, you can enjoy this any time of the year. Going to grab some of the cherries. Gotta have some of the whipped cream. And I'm loving that Oreo cookie crust as well. Wow, this is incredible. I love everything about this. You have this rich, luscious chocolate cheesecake. It's just so incredibly delicious. And what I love about it is it's not too sweet, not overwhelming. Then you get the fruity cherries on top. And I love having the cherry flavored whipped cream as well. Just adds even more cherry flavor. Oh my goodness, this is such a great bite right here. If you're looking for a fun, festive, and delicious cheesecake to have this holiday season, this is it. It is incredibly delicious. I am loving the flavors of the chocolate, plus you have that chocolate Oreo cookie crust, and then the cherry pie filling. And again, you can use regular canned cherries, just drain them really well before you add them to the top. You guys are going to love how everything combines together. I have some extra whipped cream on the side, a little bit more cherry filling, just in case somebody wants a little bit extra. You guys are going to love this recipe. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a fantastic holiday season, and I'll see you next time with a new recipe.